Guys, holy smokes, we have some breaking news regarding Elizabeth Warren, Senator of Massachusetts. Check this out. On the Jesse Waters show, literally minutes ago, David Sachs broke the internet because David just said that Elizabeth Warren was the person behind the Joe Biden auto pen. Joe Biden's signature has become one of the biggest controversies of this year because the question behind this is who was in charge, because now we understand that Joe Biden wasn't just someone who was experiencing cognitive decline, as Jake Tapper is talking about it. He's writing his book, or he's written his book, and he's promoting it everywhere. But now we also know that Joe Biden, during his presidency, he had prostate cancer. How functional was he? So this is actually really a big deal, and I love that we are talking about it. So I'm going to go to play this clip. We're going to go into some perspectives, as well as go back a little further to when Elizabeth Warren was on a podcast where she actually was talking about President Biden's cognitive decline and really why she didn't say anything. And I feel like not enough people are talking about that clip. So let's go ahead and start here. Also, guys, if you like having conversations like this, if you think they matter, please consider liking and subscribing. It really, really does mean the world to me. Okay, check this out.
This is the financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to encourage it. What the Biden administration was doing, and let's face it, it wasn't Biden. Elizabeth Warren controlled the auto pen during that administration. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred of the crypto community. She wants to drive this community offshore. She doesn't want it happening in the United States. That's the wrong policy for the United States. We want all the innovation happening here. This is a financial system of the future. It's cheaper, it's more efficient. We want it happening here, Jesse, and I think people are thrilled that President Trump is making that possible.
There we have it. David Sachs, who is the White House crypto czar, as named by President Trump. Guys, this is the biggest story of tonight. We have this thing is going viral literally everywhere. Elizabeth Warren's name is all over the internet. It is wild. Leading report just said breaking: Elizabeth Warren controlled the auto pen during the Biden administration, claims White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs. Wow. And these are some of the questions. Look at this. One of the top comments says, when will she be arrested for treason? Good question. But here's that clip that I really wanted to share. I don't know the name of this podcast, but this is huge. I want you to go ahead and look at Elizabeth Warren's body language. Look at her face. As soon as this guy asks her one of the biggest questions in politics, and I don't think Elizabeth Warren should take all the blame here. I think there are so many catastrophes in the Biden administration, but I do think people like her and people like her in very similar positions who knew of a Biden's inefficiencies and still chose not to say something about it. These are the conversations we need to be having. We need to hold these people accountable. Remember, these aren't just people who have a job. No, these are people who work for us. These are people who are supposed to be representing us, and their inability to do just that, their inability to ask the right questions, to speak up when something bad happens, if they aren't the ones who are going to do it, what are we doing here? Right? So check this out. This is huge.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline.
Okay. So there's an extra, like 30 seconds here. But did you see that? He just asked her, you think he was as sharp as you? And look at what she just did. She laughed as if you were insulting her intelligence. It's like she just said, are you calling me dumb? That's what this smirk says. Yeah, that is my interpretation. Look at this again.
You think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
She got so immediately humbled Thank goodness she said fair enough, because that at least makes this clip watchable. But guys, do you see her right now? As soon as he's like, Senator, on his feet, sharp, this is not praise. And look at her face. She's like, you know what? That's true. Like, I'm sorry. As if she was saying, I'm just reading the script, guys. I'm just saying what people told me to say. I don't actually believe this stuff. And this is why this story is, I know this doesn't seem groundbreaking, but I just think that so many people in politics are almost, they're used to people lying to us. They're used to our senators lying to us. They're used to our representatives lying to us. They're used to them not being honest. But you know what? In 2025, people go on podcasts. People cut through the BS. People see that you're being inauthentic. People, there are receipts of going back the past 10 years of, being on the internet and posting on Twitter. We could search things, and we just know when you are telling the truth and when you are just so full of it. And I think right now we are in a season of just, we got to cut through all the noise, and we got to identify the signal. We got to see who's telling the truth and why they weren't before. And I think that's the real story behind this whole auto pen fiasco. It's not just that President Biden, wasn't the person who was signing his name on these documents. It's who was actually in charge, who was assigning these things. So who were the people around him that were enabling this behavior? Because I don't know if I see President Biden, who's 84, 83 years old, who's like, oh, you know what, pass me that document. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to go there. No, there are people around who are doing all these things for him. Of course, we know this is true. He had handlers. He had senators. He had these people who were having so much control over what was actually being pushed forward. And that's what's, whenever you zoom out, that's what's happening. And I love that all these people in the comment sections are saying the same thing. Gunther Eagleman said, she knows everything said here is a lie. Isn't that bonkers? Wow. Media Lies says correct. Unbelievable. Another person says, how stupid does she think we are? We all have eyes and ears. And honestly, I think the Trump administration, or actually, no, I think so many conservatives and independents alike have felt this for a really, really long time. It's like, what do you mean he's not experiencing cognitive decline? What do you mean he's as sharp as attack behind closed doors? I could see him. I could see him in this interview. My guy is not there. I could see him interacting with the press. I feel concerned. And to have people like Jake Tapper saying that, oh, you know what, I'm apologizing now. And this is actually another story that just happened. Laura Trump she was just right now on Fox News talking about how Jake Tapper, called her and apologized to her for smearing her over the Biden cover up. And look at this story. I thought this was interesting. Check this out.
Jake Tapper called me about 2 months ago, actually. And he said, I have this book coming out. And I know everybody's saying that I should apologize to you. I plan, whenever the book comes out, to go on TV and I will say, you were right and I was wrong. And I guess to Jake's credit, he did that. Now, Laura, I think the overarching thing here, though, is that the damage is done, right? We were so close to something so dangerous happening to this country. I mean, look at what actually happened. Look at the millions of illegal immigrants able to pour in. People are questioning now, who was actually in charge of this country. I guess whoever was in charge of the auto pen. We really have to think about what would have happened if Joe Biden would have been elected. These people would have swept his condition under the rug even more. And Jake Tapper saying that this is like a Watergate level type of situation. Now that he played a role in it, it feels a little bit too late to me. I do appreciate that he did keep his word, though, and come out and say that I was right.
There we go. Guys, all hell is breaking loose. From Jake Tapper to Elizabeth Warren. Who was in charge? Who was in charge the past 4 years before President Trump? Who was in office? Who was making these decisions? And just right now, Laura Trump, who was in charge of the auto pen. And I love how in a different segment on Fox, was that question answered? Some people are thinking it was. Was this just a humorous statement? Was Elizabeth Warren the person who was actually in charge of the auto pen? Or was that just a blanket statement, meaning Democratic senators or Democratic representatives or people who were in that room, in that space, close to President Biden, his handlers, his staff? Maybe. I think these are the questions we need to be asking. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I really wanted to have that. Just happened right now, and I had to flip my camera on because I wanted to talk about it and share what people are saying online because I think it was important. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about all of this. Tell me your perspectives. Who are you in agreement with? Where do you disagree with them? Where do you agree with them? I'm really excited to read your comments on this one because I think this conversation is super, super important. Anyways, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section, and please consider liking and subscribing if you think conversations like this need to continue happening. All right, guys, I will see you all next time. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.